So in this episode, after relaxing in Seattle for a little while, I hop back on the bike and start to explore the southwest of the United States, Yosemite, Moab, Monument Valley, and I visit a friend out in Dixon. It's a pretty cool trip. Relaxing in Seattle was awesome. Just being back home and not having to worry about the bike. It was just very, very relaxing and very nice, hanging out with Da Vinci, getting some home cooking. I had to get the bike serviced. Again, new tires, general service. Tracy and I head out to the east into Florida and Georgia. We were attending my brother's retirement ceremony there, which was just completely awesome, hanging out with friends from back home. The ceremony was just killer. I was very honored and humbled to be there with my brother as he celebrated his service. 23 years as a submariner, which is pretty freaking awesome. He had asked me to be his guest speaker, which was extremely humbling to me, particularly the crowd. Had a lot of good time there. Tracy and I then went up to Virginia and loaded up a U-Haul. All our stuff was in storage there, and I had a lot of friends helping me out. It was hot as hell. Then we drove across country in this big beast, the U-Haul and the trailer. Saw some cool weather patterns as we started to head west. Once we got everything back, I was back on the road again, and for the first time I'd visited the Pacific Oregon coast, which was just beautiful. I was astounded at how just clean and pure everything was, and the riding was just spectacular as well. The smells you get in the Pacific Northwest are, the trees obviously, but it's just a clean smell. It's very pleasant to ride around in. My path took me through Lassen National Park in Northern California, which is pretty cool. It's a volcanic park, and again, the trees that you see in Northern California are like no other trees I've ever seen. And the crystal clear waters, blue lakes, and it was pretty astounding. I actually went to Reno after that and then came back west into Yosemite. So I got to see the landscape change from a very dry climate to, beautiful wooded forest of Yosemite Valley. It's pretty spectacular. This is El Capitan. My campsite was pretty cool. It was right up under the base of Half Dome. I did manage to get one phantom drone flight in before the park rangers stopped me, but I got some good footage. I couldn't get all the way up to the top because it's almost a mile vertically to those peaks, but still, you get a pretty good idea just how beautiful this valley is here in California. I rode up to Glacier Point, which is an adjacent mountain, and looked right down into Yosemite Valley. It was just completely breathtaking. A whole new perspective on Half Dome. It's very beautiful. So here I am, I'm crossing Nevada. I'm on US Highway 6. I left Tonopah this morning and I'm heading towards Baker, which is essentially all the way across the state. And it is whisper quiet out here. I've passed 2 cars in 2 hours. going in the opposite direction. But it's just endless miles of this. You can see in some stretches of road, you look ahead where it kind of goes over a mountain, and it ends up being about 35 miles away that you get to watch it come towards you. Just amazingly huge, open expanse. Then I made my way over to Great Basin National Park. Just a complete oasis, essentially in the middle of the desert, but the mountains that rose up there were spectacular. The camping was really, really, really good. I was at about 10,000 feet. Unlimited firewood, all you could get. From there, I headed east further into Utah, and I was just, the western part of Utah is pretty flat like Nevada, but as soon as you get into the eastern part of Utah, you start to see all these formations. Just millions of years of geological evolution right before your eyes. In Moab, I was having problems, or thought I did, with my rear brake dragging because I've been through too many rear pads lately. But it seemed to be fine. Eastern Utah, or southeastern Utah, is just full of this stuff. It's just these amazing buttes and monuments and arches are just incredible. In Arches National Park, I took one of the dirt roads down into the valley and managed to get some good shots. Just getting off the beaten path really makes a big difference, I think, sometimes. Yes, even as heavy as that big beast is, still pretty capable off-road. Some may ask why I'm standing there. I don't know. It's because I get a breeze. Finally, some shade. Check this out. Slot canyons. Pretty cool. The entirety of Arches National Park, as well as Canyonlands National Park, are just full of these slot canyons that were eroded by, water and wind, and it's pretty spectacular. The colors that you get in the rocks, it's hard to take your eyes off. And the formations, like these, are just incredible. They provide an incredible view. Here I'm making my way south through Utah. I'm working on getting from Moab down to Monument Valley. And in between there is the second entrance to Canyonlands National Park, the one that comes in from the east. I ran into Melanie and Greg on the road. Terp, you should look them up. Moab is one of those towns that is just, almost every vehicle looks just like this. Everybody gets off-road and goes around. I found when I was looking at the views, it was very reflective. You could sit and just watch it and look at it for hours. Monument Valley was another treasure. It's on tribal lands, a couple hours south of Moab. First night skies I've seen, I think, ever like that, and incredible sunrises. Just very beautiful. I made my way over to Dixon and met up with Ben Rainchild of Green Chili Adventure Gear, an adventure guy. And I loved his house. It was just filled with adventure spirit. He took me out one day riding. I borrowed a bike. I'm not on the big GS here, but his backyard is like 1,000,000 acres of this stuff. He just rides around forever, all day, which I sort of thought was kind of cool. We had a lot of fun. These trails just seem to go on forever. And there were some challenging sections. That's almost at 45 degrees. But it was really a lot of fun. I love dirt biking like that. Ben gave me some directions around locally, and I went and visited the Rio Grande River Gorge, which was like at 1,000 feet above the ground. Later in the week, I took my drone out and filmed Ben doing some incredible stuff, riding the peaks of these ridges on his Gas, which is a trials bike. I let him try out my bike for a little while, and he loved it. I know he did. He wants one. But that's it for this episode, folks. I'm taking a break here in Farmington because my knee is bothering me. I think I tweaked it somewhere. But I'm just adding that to my sore elbow and my sore shoulder, and I just felt like I needed a few days of doing nothing but sitting and catching up on a blog. So thanks for following along. I really appreciate it, and appreciate the comments and the feedback too. I really, really do. So here's to seeing you on the road. Bye.